over the last one at least. Okay. So this one, yes, because this is a really important. So when we see a number like in front of parentheses, so that means it's a distribution, like distributing the 5 inside of parentheses, right? So sometimes it might be confusing for some students. So today we're talking about the tape diagram or using a rectangular model to distribute this 5 inside of these parentheses, okay? And to do that, let me grab my pencil. So you need to draw like a rectangle, like a big rectangle like this. And so because if you have a 2 terms like inside of parentheses, you need to divide this into 2. For example, I have a 8x and 3, right? So the smaller one, I cut the tape in between. So the smaller one will be 3, the longest one will be 8. Okay, so let me use another color now. So for example, the 3 is the shortest one, the shortest width, this one, and 8 is the longest one. Okay, it's 8x. And because if you're multiplying the whole expression with 5, the height of that rectangle would be 5. And it's the same thing for this line and the same thing for this line, okay? Because when we talk about rectangle, like the opposite sides are equal, right? So now the second thing, in order to find out the result of this distribution, you just need to find the area of these rectangles. So this is the biggest rectangle and this is the little bit smaller rectangle. So you need to find the area. So if we started in the second one, the area is width times height, right? Height is 5, width is 3. So 5 times 3, which is 15, okay? And for the biggest rectangle, it's the same thing. So you need to multiply height with width. So 5 times 8x. So we talk about this kind of multiplication on the last class, last week, right? So 5 times 8, you just need to multiply the numbers and put the variable next to it. So the area would be 40x, right? And to find out the area of the biggest rectangular, the rectangular that contains both of them, so you just need to add the values of these areas. So the area of the biggest one and area of the smaller one will get the area of the total rectangle. So that will tell you the distribution of this expressions. Okay, so 40x, and because if you're adding these two small rectangles, it's going to be 15. So this is the distribution. Okay, or you also learned last year how to distribute a number inside of parentheses. It's basically multiplying every single the number outside of parentheses with every single term inside of parentheses, like this, right? 5 times 8, it's a 40x, and there is a plus in between, and 5 times 3, it's a 15. Okay, so this is kind of the examples that we will talk about today's lesson. It's about drawing a tape like this, and cutting a tape based on how many terms inside of parentheses, and labeling them, and finding the area of the inside of these rectangles, and add them together. Okay, so let me show now. Let's talk about another examples on the we do part. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So let me draw the tape for the first one. So this is the tape, and I need to cut this into 2 because there is a 2 terms inside of parentheses. Let's see, the one will be the smallest one. Okay, and so if we use the labeling, and the X would be the little bit longer one, and 1 is the shortest one. And the height of the tape is the number that you're multiplying the whole parentheses, which is 2. So the height is 2. So now my question is, what is the area of this bigger rectangle? You guys can type in the chat box. 2x, yes. I'm going to write it down a little bit bigger like this. So what is the area of the smaller rectangle? Yes, it is 2. So when you combine them together, as you said, as you typed in the chat box, yes, it is a 2x plus 2, right? And now the second thing, it says substitute the given numerical value, which means if x is 5, what do you think the result would be? So in here, instead of this x, put the 5. What do you think result would be? You guys can type in the chat box. Oh, no. So instead of x, you're plugging in, or you're replacing that x with number 5. So that means it becomes like a 2 times 5 plus 2. Yes, you got it. So 10 plus 2, which is 12. Thank you so much. So let me go a little bit like a like harder one, I would say. Not harder, actually. It's a kind of different one. So I need to draw a tape, and I have 2c and 5. I don't know, 2c looks like a little bit smaller, so 5 will be a little bit bigger like this. And let's use the labeling again. So because if you're multiplying the whole thing with 10, so the height of that rectangle would be 10, right? And the first term is 2c, so the width of this, the shortest rectangle would be 2c, and the longest will be 5. So my question is, what is the area of the first rectangle? Yes, you got it. Oh, by the way, don't forget putting the variable c, because you're multiplying 10 with 2c. So you need to put the variable next to it, okay? And awesome. So what do you think the area would be for the second rectangle? Yes. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yes, it's a 20c and 50. So together, what is the area of the whole rectangle? Together, what is how can I write it down? The area of the biggest rectangle, the rectangle that contains both of them. Uh-oh. So the 50 doesn't have a c, which means this is a number itself. But this is a number with variable, so you cannot add them together. So that means, yes, you got it now. It is you just need to put them together like this, 20c plus 50. But you cannot add them because one has a variable, the other one doesn't have it. So you need to leave it like this, okay? But this second thing now, so we need to plug in this value now. If the c is 1, that means instead of c, I need to put this number. So it's a 20. Instead of times c this time, it's a times 1 and plus 50. So what do you think the area would be now for the biggest rectangle in here? Yes, it is. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I agree now because I didn't see the result in advance. Yeah, you might be right at the beginning. I apologize. I didn't see the question. Okay, I mean the result in advance. Yes, it is. Thank you. So now let's see like what happens when negatives are included. Look at this. There is a negative sign and there is a negative sign. This is really important, by the way. So the purpose of we're doing this rectangles, it's because of like not getting confused with negative signs. So now let's do the negative sign practice together again. So I'm gonna draw this time with a red rectangle. So 4f, so it's gonna be a little bit longer than 1. Let me put like this. And let me grab my pencil and blue. So because if you're multiplying the whole parenthesis with 3, so the height of that all rectangles will be 3. And because of the first term is 4f, so you're going to put the 4f as it is. Hold on, my f looks like so bad. So 4f like this. And the second term, so it's a -1. It's the same thing with -1. Okay, -1. It's the same thing with -1 because if you guys remember, like combining like terms, I was always talking about pay attention in front of that number, the sign in front of that number, right? If you see a minus, so we can say it's the same thing with -1. Okay, so now you need to find out the area of each section. So what is the area of the first rectangle? Yes, 12f. And what is the area for the little rectangle? You got it. Yes, it is a couple of students answered also. It is a -3. So now we're seeing this kind of like negative numbers. Now, okay, yes, it is a -3. Thank you. So what is the area for total rectangles? What do you think? How can I write it down in here, the area for together? For the area for the biggest rectangle that contains both of them. Yep. Oh, by the way, you forgot the putting variable. Yes. I think you got the point. Yes, it is a 12f plus -3. Okay. So now the last thing is, what happens if f is equal to, like instead of f, if you put 2? So that become, yes, it's a 24, and plus -3 is, hold on, a lot of students are typing, but I'm trying to write here. Okay, let me see. It says 24. Oh, just be careful. It's a 24 plus -3. I mean plus -3. No, it's not. It's not 27. So adding a number, it's the same thing. Subtracting its opposite, which is like 24 minus 3. It's 21. Okay. A lot of students got it. Okay. So now the last thing. Now this time, like you have both numbers are negative. Okay. So let's do this. I really want you to be patient, because understanding this kind of problems, that's the key thing. Okay. So this is my first rectangle, and 11 is a little bit bigger than other -3. So I'm going to put like this, and let me use a different color this time. So green would suffice. And so because if you're multiplying everything with 9, the height of that rectangle would be 9 for all of these rectangles. And the first term is -3r. So, and the second thing is, like, you need to pay attention what sign in front of it. So it's -11. So now tell me, what is the area for the little rectangle? Yes, it is a -27. Yeah, I have a couple students, but don't forget putting r. If there is a r, if there is a variable, don't forget putting next to it. Okay, so what is the area for the bigger one? Yep. Oh, don't forget putting negative sign, because you're multiplying positive number with negative number, so it's a -99. Yes, it is a -99. Okay, so now, like, what is it together? When we say together, it's actually addition. We're not putting two minus signs. I think you kind of answering in advance. So to write this, the area for together, so I'm going to put equal sign, -27r. You always adding together, okay? And the second one is -99. Okay, like this. Yep, you got it. You got it. Another student answered that. Okay, so now the last thing is, what happens if r is 10? So what happens if you replace r with number 10? Hold on. Yeah, it's a big math. You got it, -26. Somebody got -37. Somebody got -270. Now, a lot of students are getting different answers. So because of r is 10, 10 times -27, it's gonna become -270, right? Negative. Yes, it is a negative result. -270 plus -99. Now you need to use your calculator. Negative. Hold on. A lot of students are typing now. Let me see. It's a -270. Really? No, it's not -270. I have -72 also. -270 plus -99. Now two students got it. Yes, it is a -369. Okay, I'm going to come to IXL. I know you're kind of in rush, but understanding this lesson is like very key point, especially for negative numbers. Okay. Yes, and now another student got a right answer. Yes, thank you. So this is kind of questions that we will be seeing next couple of days. Okay, so that's why, like, using a tape like this to find the distribution is the key point of today's lesson. Okay.